heard y'all, I listened to what each of y'all was saying. And one thing about when we talk about accountable love, like first thing I'm gonna acknowledge I just did a whole message on the move about love, and the opposite of love is actually indifference. It's like when you became slaves, when you became, like when things was going on in our community, when people were not even acknowledging us, it's indifference. It's not even hate. Hate, you feel something. And hate, at least you feel something towards somebody. You at least know them enough to hate them. Indifference is where they disregard you. They don't even know you exist. You ever felt some way towards a person and it's like, yeah, I wish you the best, but you really have no emotional attachment anymore. That's indifference. When you hate a person, you still care about them. In some way, some form of fashion, they still rent space in your head. You still have animosity towards them or whatever it is. But when you're indifferent, you can care less. They can die today tomorrow and you can care less. So we like to educate people and say, okay, we hear it based on the emotional aspect because they look at love as an emotion. But we say love is a faith. Love is a belief system. So when you jump in a relationship, you honor that belief system, and that's through accountability. So that's one portion I heard, I heard when we was having this discussion. The next thing I heard, like when you were saying individual choice, and I was thinking like it's an organization, right? This is how we see the village. Nobody's individuals. Everything we do affects somebody else. You're born into this world and it affects somebody else. You're taking food out somebody else's mouth. You have to start looking at yourself as a collective entity and know that you're being accountable and you're going to be held accountable for just being in this world. Whether you're doing something positive or you're doing something negative, you're either giving to people or you're taking from people. And if you have a clear understanding of what the process is, then you can now fully invest in your relationships. So when I'm really talking about the community as a whole, do you think a lot of people have this mindset like that's just me? That's just what I want to do. That's just what I have the right to do X, Y, and Z versus if I do this, it's going to affect how people view the community as a whole. If I do this, it's going to affect my personal relationships. What do y'all think?
Well, let me just answer. So I want to touch on something too. So the individual part of it,
Uh-huh.
even if you're talking about a group, and even if you talk about a community, it starts individually first. It starts with you first,
Uh-huh.
because if you're not individually stable and grounded, your worth coming into that community, becomes, if because we experienced this already, right? And this is why I'm saying that. There's people who's not aware, and there's some who are aware of
Definitely.
their stability in life,
Uh-huh.
right? Individually, who they are.
Definitely.
And if you don't be truthful to yourself about who you are individually, when you come into that group setting, because you are so imbalanced, it is a recipe of disaster, to what's happening in that village, because you don't want to be honest about who you are and where you at that very point. Pride is a mother. Pride
Uh-huh.
is a mother.
Definitely.
And when people can't break past the pride, and if I can't say to you, Aziz, yo, bro, I need help, man. I need some guidance, man. And don't feel less than because I came to you like that. That's powerful,
Definitely.
because I'm able to lean on you when I'm feeling low on something. But if my mentality is, I'm not gonna ask Aziz anything, man, because he's gonna look at me different, or he's gonna feel like I'm not holding my weight, or so
Uh-huh.
on and so on. It becomes detrimental to the movement,
Definitely.
because
I would agree.
that pride has blocked everything that we need in you to help. See, the community and the organization is a body,
Definitely.
and everybody has to do their part.
Definitely.
Everybody has to flow in it. Everybody, because it once something breaks down, it becomes a trickle effect because that's how it works.
Definitely.
That's how it works. And that's why I say, it starts first individually, because I have to be individually found grounded to come in and help and be a part of Aziz group that he's holding, because I want to come in there and I want to put those bricks on my shoulders right beside you.
Definitely.
All right. And if I can't do that, all that weight is shifting on you, and I'm just there.
I would agree.
So that's why I was talking about just the individual, where it starts first. It's so important that we consciously, individually, are focused on where we at and be honest about it. I This is the one thing I say in my group, bro. I said, I'm the founder, right? I'm the director, right? But I tell, the board, we're all leaders. There is none of that. There is none of that. There is no asking me. No, listen. If you are a great carpenter or painter, and you know that the building needs to get that done, bro, go get it done. Go get it done. When somebody walks in our meeting, I don't want them to determine who's in leadership here. We
Okay.
all are. We all are. And that's how we uplift each other to make sure everybody has a stake in the organization.
Shay, you want to comment? Or you got something to add to that? Before I comment, I don't want to,
Well, Ty put it excellently, but I also feel like when it comes to community, first of all, in the organization, you have to be equally yoked. It's not gonna work if you're not equally yoked. If you're in the organization and y'all don't have the same mission statement, you believe something else, that person believes something else, it's not gonna work because you are not equally yoked.
I would agree.
And our experience within our organization is, you have to be, my most important thing is self-awareness. You have to be self-aware of within self.
Definitely.
Self-knowledge is the best knowledge. And when you have self-knowledge, you won't accept anything, you won't allow anything, and you won't take anything.
Definitely.
And being in this organization, and before this organization, I was connected to another organization, which was a whole different genre from what I'm connected to now. And you can see the pros and cons of both organizations, and you can also see the evilness within one organization over the other organization. You know what I mean? And
definitely.
A lot of times when you're connected to an organization, and Ulster County has a lot of different organizations, but if you're not self-aware and know what it is that you stand for and who you are as a person, then it'll be you're connected to an organization and you're just connected to it. There's no, like, I'm connected to this organization. I'm on the board of this organization. I'm volunteered. I don't get a funding for it. I don't get paid for it. Everything that I do within this community is my personal time that I give to my community. But being here and being connected and working with other organizations, you see the griminess, you see the evil, you see people being connected to something just for money. You see someone stabbing, their brother and sister in the back to get ahead. You see people pretending like they're doing for the community. Like you see all that. And if you don't have self-awareness and knowledge of self, you'll get caught up in that. You understand?
Definitely.
So you have to be able to understand who you are as a person, and pretty much when you're in the community, always living your truth. Because listen, my favorite saying is the community don't change. If the community ain't feeling you, they not feeling you. If they feeling you, they feeling you. If they're gonna support you, they're gonna support you. They usually always stay the same. It's the organizations and the people within the organizations that usually change.
Okay.
You gotta always stay and I'm only speaking because of what I deal with within Kingston, New York. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So you always got to keep knowledge yourself, because if you keep knowledge yourself, you're not accepting anything.
I would
And
agree.
nobody can just stand in front of you, like Ty said, I'm a Black woman first.
Mm-hmm.
I'm for my people. I love my people. So I'm a Black woman. So because I do have knowledge of self, I tend to get in situations a little different than other people, because I'm not going to sit and allow anybody to just say what they want to say to me and not have a word for myself.
Definitely.
You know, and
you have to show self-worth.
You have to. And sometimes people look at it as like, you know, we'll put it out there. I've been labeled a bully. I've been labeled, you know, angry Black woman. You know, we've been labeled, and that's, you know, and that's because I'm labeled the angry Black woman because I can stand up in a room full of Caucasians and tell them how I feel and be okay with it.
Definitely.
And not be afraid to lose anything. And that's, you know, I you know, I notice in this community, when it comes to, you know, our people, that's what it is for them. It's a fear. They're afraid to lose something. You know, and I always have this conversation with Ty about, you know, I believe in a higher spirit, and I believe whatever it is that God got for you, no man could touch nor take.
Definitely.
You feel what I'm saying? So I'm not afraid to lose. So that's why I'm not afraid to speak how I feel and how you made me feel. And sometimes that comes across as I'm this aggressive Black woman. And sometimes it comes off as, you know, Tyrone is a bully, or he's an aggressive Black man.
Definitely.
You know, and knowledge yourself is the most important thing, and be aware of who you are, and you won't accept any and everything, and you'll hold people accountable and have people hold you accountable.
Definitely. I mean, self-awareness is definitely a part of the process. Where, you know, one thing, I don't know how often y'all hear us speak or whatever, but one thing we have consistent in the way we do things is defining our terms. So to speak, we got to have clear definition of terms. So when Tyrone said individual, when he was talking, when I heard him, I'm hearing identity. Like, we separate identity and individualistic thinking. You get what I'm saying? Having an identity is what you was talking about, Sha. Having a great sense of self. What you was talking about, Tyrone, having a understanding what you bring to the table. That's having an identity. But a part of who we are is connected to other people. And when you're not individualistic or have an individual thought process, then you are aware of that. So you now know a part of your identity is connected to your parents. A part of your identity is connected to your siblings. A part of your identity is connected to your friends. A part of your identity. So you don't just go out and do whatever you feel you want to do if it's going to affect the overall whole of the relationship. Or in your case, it's going to affect the community, or going to affect or get frowned upon amongst the community. You see